It says streaming live.
We're live, baby. We're live. Hello, everybody. Here I am back in my kitchen with Steve Sims. For those of you who don't know Steve, he makes a living doing some really cool shit. Basically, he'll take what's impossible and make it possible. You want to get married at the Vatican? This is your man. You want to meet Journey? Well, forget just meeting them. He's going to put you on stage with them and let you sing a couple songs. What it is that you can think of, he turns the dial up to 10, incites your passion, and then delivers it to you. An amazing gig. An amazing gig. I refer to him as the man, the myth, the legend, for obvious reasons. And what we're talking about today is his new book, which is called Blue Fishing: The Art of Making Things Happen. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for coming.
I'm happy.
I want you to, what do I want you to do first? There are so many things I could talk about. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey and how it is that you came to do this for a living? Because it's an amazing job, let's face it.
Yeah, it's an amazing job, and I'm not quite sure. I certainly never sat down until I worked out a platform of what I've got to do, and then worked out a proposal, and then did an analytical survey on the club. Never did any of that shit. I worked on the door of a nightclub, and people used to come up to me and go, "Hey, where's the best party tonight?" And I'd be like, "Down there. Give me $100. I've just told you where the best party is." And it started from there, and it kind of grew, and I realized people do actually like to pay for things. You know, if you ask someone for a favor, you're indebted, okay? Or you establish a pecking order that they can get it, you can't. Therefore, they're now one above you and always will be. If you come over to me and go, "Hey, I'll get you in there. It's going to cost you 10 grand." They go, "There you go. Bang. Deal done. Completed. End of chapter." So I just never really thought what I couldn't do. And so just kept on the requests got bigger and bigger, and people wanted to go down and see the Titanic, and people wanted to go backstage at an award show. People wanted to be front row of an award show, and everything got bigger. And the more things I did, the more used to it I got, the more comfortable by being uncomfortable I became. And it just grew, and the credibility grew with it.
And you've done some pretty amazing things. Like, admit it, you've done some amazing things. Yeah. I'm sure you have a top 10 or even a top 5. Do you have a top 1, like the most incredible ride you've given somebody?
I think, yeah, probably the dinner party. I think still kind of like give me tingles. I had a client that wanted to have a dinner party in Florence for 6 of them, and at an exclusive restaurant. And the bottom line of it is, Florence doesn't have exclusive restaurants. That's a New York or London thing. You know, you go into a restaurant in Florence, you ask for a table of 2. Don't be surprised if you're sat on a table of 12 and there's 2 seats. And by the end of the night, you've just adopted this family. Bear in mind, that's the whole point of Tuscan living, isn't it? You know, passing the bread down and everyone cheering. That's Tuscan life. So when you want an exclusive restaurant, it doesn't exist. So what we did was we took over the Academia, which is the museum and gallery that houses Michelangelo's David, the most iconic statue in the world. We set up a table of 6 at the feet of Michelangelo's David in an empty museum at 9 o'clock at night. And then during dinner, we got Andrea Bocelli to come in and serenade them. So that one was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. That's a freaking amazing, amazing story. I love that. Well, I mean, just like listening to it is inspiring and it's motivating. But one of the things that appeals to me the most about you, and it comes through loud and clear in the book, is the mindset you have. Like, there are no obstacles. You're very clear. I mean, unless you want there to be obstacles. How did that show up for you? Is that something you've always had, this notion that anything's possible? Or is it something you developed over time? I've had periods in my life where I tried to do things the right way, and they fuck me up. You know, like all entrepreneurs, as soon as you're doing something and you find you're doing it well, then the next step of an entrepreneur is to fuck it. You know, we look for a way, how are we going to screw this up? How are we going to make it not fun? How are we going to monetize the passion out of it? How are we going to screw that puppy to death? Okay, that's what entrepreneurs do. And that happened to me. So as I was kind of getting somewhere, for a young lad, being an Irish lad from England, from a bricklaying family, I never thought these things were impossible because I never thought they were probable. You know, I had no thought about it. Someone says, hey, pass me the salt. You just go, there you go. You don't think about it. So as a young lad, I never had those kind of like, oh, no, you can't go there. I'd be the guy that would go, well, why can't I go there? And that was the question. So as I kind of was doing these things, I was never blocked. And I remember being in Hong Kong once, and I lived in Hong Kong for a while. And I had these guys come up to me and they said, there's a yacht party going on tonight, and we really want to go. So I'm stood there and I'm like, well, okay, you know, why aren't you going? And they said, oh, you know, we can't do this, we can't do that. And there's a really smart fella called Greg Reed. And he says that it's the size of your butt that gets in front of you. But I can't do this, but I can't do it, but I'm not rich enough for this. And these guys were biting themselves to death. And I thought, well, hang on a minute, this is ridiculous. So I walked down to the front of the yacht, and they were getting it all set up. And I went up to the girl with the clipboard, and I went down there and I said, hey, my 4 guys are coming down tonight. Your party starts at 8. Is that correct? Do you want them here at 7:45 or 8:30? What would be better for you? Oh, and she was kind of looking at it, and I was just there, and she was like, oh, 8:30 would be great. Good. Then these are the 4 names. See you later. And I went back, and I went, all right, boys, you're in, $2,000. You know, 4 people, $500 a ticket. And they were like, there you go. And they went, and I just couldn't believe it that if they hadn't just walked up there and just gone, I want to do this. And you can see that today. You go to a nightclub, you go to a show, you even go to a shop, okay? I live in Los Angeles. I see this crap. You walk up to a store, okay, and there are people on the right-hand side lining up. You've got the choice. Do I walk through the front door, or do I optionally put myself in a line? I never put myself in that line. I walk to the front door and say, hey, how you doing? Just walk in with respect, not arrogance, with respect, but I go through the front door. I'm not the guy that's going to select myself and optionally put myself in the line. So as things have got bigger and bigger, I'm a great believer in it's only impossible until someone does it. And I'm just a guy that just continues to go forward. And every time I manage to do something, and every time I manage to chat with the Vatican or chat with Elton John's people or do something at the Oscars or, you know, Florence or Ginza, Japan, every time I do something or get on a jet flying across the world to speak to a guy that owns England, you know, I just suddenly feel that there's nothing that can't be done. And I used this word the other day because I can't spell and I can't speak properly if you haven't worked that out already. Pedestalized it. God, it's even bad. But I said it fluently before. People look at something and they want to do it. And the first thing they do is they push it away. So they go up and they go, I want to meet Elon Musk, or I want to meet Richard Branson. But I can't because they're this, they're that. And they put them on this pedestal. And while they're talking, the pedestal's getting bigger and bigger. They're getting further away from them. And if they want to do something, they do the same. Oh, I'd love to get into that event, but it's only for these. They put it on a pedestal, and that pedestal suddenly starts growing. And the more that they can't, they're right. So they start pushing this bitch away from them that there's nowhere in the world they can get to. So just approach it from a very level playing field and go, I want to meet Richard Branson. Okay, what's the steps that's got to happen? You know, get out of the way of yourself. Don't overanalyze it. Just do one thing that gets you closer to first order up.
Yeah, agreed. So here's a question, and you talk a lot about in the book about how people, they do overanalyze, they overthink it, they talk themselves right out of things. Why do they limit themselves that way?
Do you know, I don't know. I've had conversations with people at 12 o'clock at night when they've had a couple of whiskeys, and they're all kind of like, I want to do this, and I'm doing that, and I want to go there, and here's my black card, and I'm going to do that. And then you speak to them at 9:30 in the morning, they're like, yeah, let's just do this. And in the cold light of sobriety, they dilute their dreams. And I feel that a lot of people nowadays are actually scared of saying what they want. And I believe it stems from the playground. I don't think we ever get out of the playground. The playground just changes shape and location. But as a kid, we don't like to ask the question too many times because we look stupid. And no one likes looking stupid or being embarrassed or being made a fool of. And that grows even into adulthood because it's presetting us by then that I can ask you now how much you weigh, I'm not going to, by the way, how tall you are, how old you are, what's your religion, and how much money you have in a bank account. Now, all of those questions can rub a little bit of sensitivity. Maybe you've just paid out a lot of money on a car, so you don't have as much money as you had last week. Maybe you've enjoyed it like a buffet over the weekend that you shouldn't have, so a few extra pounds. All of those things. But the simple fact is, those are factual answers. But the second I look into your soul and I go, what's going to wake you up tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat because you can't believe you achieved your bucket list? What makes you passionate? What sets your life? What is it going to be? That's real vulnerability, because your weight's going to go up and down. Your height may or may not. Your bank account certainly will. But those passions, that's getting to your core. And especially with social now, where everyone's Instagram shows a perfect freaking life, you don't want that vulnerability. You don't want to go on Instagram and show people the red letter for you not being able to pay the phone bill. So when people come to me, they want to go, like you mentioned, Journey. I had this guy contact me. I met him when it had a few fizzes in him, and he told me about it. So I want to do this. When I spoke to him, he diluted it to the request, I want to meet Journey.
Yeah, I read that.
And we thought, so tell me the story why this is important. When he told me his life story about how Journey had literally carried him through the good and the bad and don't stop believing and all this kind of stuff, he was more connected to that band than some of the band itself. And I just went, well, hang on a minute. You've spent the last 30 years with this band.
That's right.
You're telling me that just shaking hand backstage, where they're not going to remember your name as they walk away, that's going to be the climax? That's going to be the tick, chapter, big finale, pull the curtains in? I said, no, it's got to be. So we ended up actually putting him on stage, and he's now registered as the shortest term lead singer of Journey, and he sang 4 tunes live on stage with them. Now they know who he is. Now he's got some commonality with them. Now he can officially step off that stage, close the curtains, I'm out. So we are constantly, well, 2 things. I'm constantly amazed how people dilute their dreams when they talk to us. And I'm thrilled they do, because if they didn't, I'd be out of business.
Yeah, that leads perfectly to my next question.
Oh, good. I set it up for you.
Love it. You talk a lot about passion and how people talk themselves out of things and they limit themselves. But one of the things that you're very gifted at is helping people truly get to what that passion is. Can you talk a little bit about that process? I know so many women all over the world I've worked with who are so completely out of touch with themselves that they don't even know what kind of ice cream they like. So how do you get to the root?
I think it's because I'm hugely intelligent. And I think, and I'll accept the laughter on that, because if anyone's watching this, then they know that's bollocks. I don't know what I don't know. So I'm not there to guess what makes you tick and what gets you hot and horny. I'm not there for any of that. But I'm there to ask you the questions. And I always ask the question why 3 times, because the first answer you give me is the one that you think I want to hear, that doesn't make you sound stupid or childish or kind of like giggly, okay? Yep. Then the second one, I'm getting a little bit closer. And if I can detect those little hot buttons and press on them and go, well, why is this important to you? Is that going to achieve it? Hang on, you're telling me this is going to do it? If you can get that breath, that tone changing, that passion starting to get the twinkle in the eyes when they start talking about what they like, and then just push it one more time and challenge it. So that's going to wake you up at 2 o'clock in the morning with a cold sweat that you actually did that. Really? Really? Is it? And you chat. Sooner or later, you start getting down to them. And then when it opens up, get your rain jacket on, because this thing floods. They come at you with everything. And when you get to give a client something more than they originally asked you, and more than they thought even achievable or possible, my God, they just come back to you and you're like their secret best friend that they never want to share with anyone. It's brilliant. It's a relationship. I love the fact that people come to me, and I'm not going to give you the website, but on my website for my company, there's no phone number. So there's actually no way to contact us, okay? But people get introduced to me, and it's always the same. They come up and they go, Rebecca, I was speaking with so-and-so the other day, and they told me you did this, and the lights go up, and so all of a sudden you just stand there and go, that's right, you want the same? And just, it's a really easy referral-based company by just getting people to do what makes them hot and sticky.
You make people feel good, you have a customer for life, and they'll tell 50 other people exactly how good it felt. I mean, you're the master. Oh
yeah. You're the best cocktail story that night.
That's right. Forever.
Yep.
Okay, so one of the things that you said in the book was that we don't talk to ourselves enough to discover what our passions are. But you also said something else, which I found really interesting, which is we don't listen to ourselves. So even if we do get in touch with our passion and we figure it out, we sort of blow it off. We tune it out. Why? Why do you think we do that?
It's all down to that stupidity again and the fear of looking silly. The good thing about the people that I've met is it is installed more confidence in me to fail. Everyone that I've met, all of the incredible people from the Silicon Valley companies, from the Elon Musks to the heads of banks, to the heads of studios, just the people that I get to socialize with and I get to work with are top of their game. And the good thing about all of them that I came to realize was that they are failures and they constantly fail on a regular basis. You can go down to SpaceX tomorrow, if they let you in, and you can find out that there are maybe 200 failures that day. And basically 200 ways they learn not to make that rocket, how to build it, how to launch it. 200 ways. The difference with those people failing is they looked at that failure as a feedback on what not to do, and they didn't let the feedback define them and let them refine them. Okay? And that's the key difference there. A lot of people try to be too smart, try not to risk anything for fear of falling over. And as my old dad said, the fight's not over when you go down, it's when you stop getting up.
Oh, amen. I love that. I love that. I used to have my kids, my boys, they're teenagers now when they were young. Every night we sit down for dinner, they had to tell us one thing that day that they screwed up. And if they couldn't think of anything, then they had to go do it on the spot, because we taught them mistakes and screw ups were how you learn. They're to be celebrated.
I'm often upset when I meet people and they start telling me about that business and stuff like that. And I say to them, well, okay, especially with entrepreneurs, have you been sued yet? And they go, well, no. Have you got a cease and desist? Have you got a trademark attorney come over you because you used a photograph on your website that you shouldn't have used? Has a client ripped you off? Has a client purchased something and then 3 days later phoned the credit card company and said that he didn't do it, so he gets the... Have you had any of these things yet? And they go, no, I haven't. I go, buckle up. They're in the future. So those are the things. And if they haven't had them, I remember the first time I fucked up, okay? Or the first time I got screwed out of money, or the first time someone tried to throw a lawsuit at me. And I've got loads of lawsuits been thrown at me. Very, very, very few have stuck. But you get loads of, the bigger you are, the more people to throw sticks at you. And this just happens. But what happens is when you fall over and you learn, you get up and you go, that wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. And then the next one comes and you just go, I'll handle that when I get the third one. And guess what? The third one doesn't turn up, and I'll line the hamster cage with that paperwork. So you suddenly become resilient. And as they always say, experience comes 2 seconds after you needed it. So you've got to learn from those things to make you the person you are. And now, if something goes wrong, the beauty of it is you know what you're capable of. Yes. And I'm always scared for those people, scared, terrified, frightened, embarrassed, for those people that don't try to fail, because it's that point of failure that I've got here, and by just tweaking that, I can get a little bit further. And the second you get that a little bit further, it's just no size, shape, any of that. It always expand from there.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're not pushing yourself hard enough to make a mistake or screw up, then you're staying where you are.
Isn't that frightening? Isn't that embarrassing?
I think so.
Yeah.
We're people. We say we're here to help other people. We're here to stretch and to grow and to reach our potential. And if you're always in your comfort zone and what's familiar, then how are you doing any of that?
Exactly.
I don't know. Okay, one more thing. Authenticity and passion. You say they go hand in hand.
Okay. I'd like to rephrase the first part of that. Authenticity has become the freaking mousepad logo for this year. And it's on every coffee. No, it's horrible. It's like saying, hey, I breathe, therefore I'm brilliant.
Right.
It's a horrible word. Last year it was 10x. Do you remember how everything last year was 10x?
Yes.
So this year it's authenticity. He's so authentic. Buy this. It's authentic genes. It's just bollocks. What I'm a great believer in is transparency.
Yes.
And I want to be impossible to misunderstand. When I come to you, I want you to be able to know, Rebecca, what I'm after and what's in it for you and why this is a good relationship to have. Yes. And I want you to know that very quickly. And the good thing about transparency is if I'm so crystal clear with my message to you, you don't have any gut reaction other than commitment. If you order a plumber tomorrow and he turns up in a Ferrari wearing a suit, you go, oh, something's not right here. You get those little butterflies. And I'm telling you now, anyone out there listening, your stomach's more intelligent than in your head. If it doesn't feel right, walk away from it quickly. So with transparency, people call it authenticity. Try and be transparent. Try to be impossible to misunderstand. And if you are, hey, we need to do this, that's when the passion comes in and basically adds lighter fuel to anything that you're going forward. If I can be transparent to you and let you know what I want, what you want, how this can work, and what a ride it's going to be if we do this together,
that's right. That's
where you get on board. And if you can get someone on board when you're transparent and you get them to purchase into that stage.
It's brilliant. And people are so afraid to be themselves because they're convinced that they're just not good enough. They've got to be somebody else. They've got to do something more. They've got to pretend that there's something that they're not. And it's a shame.
I did it. Late 90s. Well, the early 90s when I started this, I was a guy in a black T-shirt with earrings riding around on motorcycles. You know, big stretch. I can imagine that you're thinking that now. But then I started getting quite successful. I started taking out all the earrings and I bought a Ferrari. And I actually started turning up to my clients in a suit, in a Ferrari, and I lost a lot of clients. Couldn't work out why. And I was attracting the wrong clients. Couldn't work out why till I realized that I wasn't being me. I had done what every entrepreneur does. You mess with it. You mess with your secret sauce. And I was lucky enough to go back to it. My wife was the one that went, something's going wrong. Let's go back and restart. Okay, so I went back to turning up on the motorbike, black T-shirt, jeans. All of a sudden, got rid of the clients I didn't want, and I started getting those clients coming back. They were able to connect with me because they thought, well, yeah, he's a big whiskey drinking lump that rides around on a motorcycle. That's him. I was very easy to understand. But as soon as I started wearing a suit and started purchasing fine watches, I became a challenge. Is your watch better than me? Well, who's your tailor? Oh, you're driving a Ferrari. I'm not. You know, all of a sudden it became challenging. So I went through that. I very much understand that you need to be you. And here's the beautiful, beautiful nugget to finish on that. It takes zero effort to be you.
Oh.
Done.
Amen.
Preach.
Amen. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's church for the day.
Hallelujah, right there. Gold. I love it. It's true. It's the one thing that's easiest for us to do. It's the easiest thing for us to leverage. And it's the one thing that most of us are terrified of. And isn't that
scared to do? You're vulnerable again.
Yeah. It's a sad commentary, really.
Yeah.
Okay. So blue fishing is the art of making things happen.
It is.
This is what he does, guys. It's amazing. The book is incredible. I thoroughly enjoy anybody who's of the mindset of painting possibility in the world and getting people to expand their idea of their potential, of their dreams. of leaning into and accepting more. He's your man. Where can we get your book?
So you can go to stevedsims.com, S-I-M-S, stevedsims.com. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, any of these places. There's Audible versions as well. Just look up Bluefishing, The Art of Making Things Happen by moi.
Love it. And for those on my email list, you already saw I sent out a recommendation yesterday. Seriously, snag it up. It makes you feel good just to read it. Really?
And the Audible one, the Audible version, I probably shouldn't plug that instead, but my publishers get more when you buy the print. But my Audible one, I actually interviewed for the ability to read my own audio version.
Oh my God.
I know, and I got it. Shock or surprise.
Woo-hoo.
So it's actually me, and I went into the sound booth, and there's a picture of me somewhere on the Facebook or something with a bottle of bullet bourbon, just like sipping away while reading out my audio book. So probably gets a bit slurry near the end, but it was fun to do.
He wins. I love it. You're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. You're incredible.
It was a pleasure.
Go get his book. Get on his website. Check him out. Lean into more. You know how to do this. You know you want to. Fuck fear. We're beyond that now. I'll see you all soon.